The AllStar app, the #1 app in the business. UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL, and more. Get the app right now. Link in description. Bryan, man, 15 fights in the UFC. 15. It's a long career so far, man. You probably got another 15 in you if you had the choice, right? And I was looking back at your debut. It was against Joe Ellenberger in 2014. Ellenberger, he never competed again after that fight. Did you know that?
Actually, I did. I did know that. Yeah. I believe I had heard it was because he had some kind of blood condition. He was not able to compete anymore because of it, or I believe that was it. Yeah.
And then you fought his brother in 2018 and beat him. It's just wild how this sport plays out, right? Like how you could fight brothers in the same sport.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I've watched Jake Ellenberger fight for a long time or whatever, and it was always, hopefully I get the chance to fight him or whatever. Not, there's no bad blood between me and the Ellenbergers. There's just, sorry guys, but there's just there's no bad blood there though. Uh, and but it was an honor to fight, Jake, and Joe he's been nice every time I've seen him around the fight scene after that fight and everything. Beforehand it was a little iffy, but he's been cool every time I've seen him. So
Yeah, you're probably not the hottest topic at family reunions, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely not.
You've had a long career so far with the UFC. Any regrets during that time?
No regrets. I got no regrets. You know, I go out there and I try to give it my all every single time. I love it. I enjoy it. That's the most important thing. That's the reason I still do it, honestly. Because the moment I stop enjoying it, even enjoying training, anything, then I won't be doing this no more. And then maybe if when the time comes, and UFC doesn't want me no more or whatever, then I'm okay with that too. And I'll hang them up. But honestly, I love being with the UFC. I love putting on fantastic fights and having exciting fights for the fans and for myself because, believe it or not, I'm having a ball out there. So, it's just I enjoy it so much. Obviously I'm getting punched in the face trying to, someone's trying to kill me and beat me in the same way I'm trying to beat them. But I really enjoy it. I really do. It's fun. I get to really let go and just go all out. So it's fun in there.
You know, After your last fight, you said that you feel like you're in your prime, but at the same time, you just mentioned to me, and you said that in previous interviews that if the UFC doesn't want you anymore, you're fine walking away. Does that mentality make you more free? You know what I mean? Has like something like risen off your chest, your shoulders a little bit, a pressure maybe?
Uh, no, honestly, I mean, maybe it does, and I don't realize it. But I feel no pressure. I felt no pressure before either when the contract was coming to be up or anything like that. I had a couple losses and was working my way back. So um, I was confident that I put on exciting fights, and the fans seem to like it. The UFC seems to like it. So I felt pretty confident that I was going to get re-signed, but obviously a win seals the deal kind of thing. It definitely is a better bargaining chip when you got some wins. So um, yeah, so I mean, I don't, it's not even that I'm completely set up or anything. You know what I mean? Me and my wife, we do our best to manage our money and put ourselves in a position to where we don't have to worry about things. But by no means are we even set up in life. We got 3 kids to raise, life to live. So I'd have to work, and ultimately I'd love to just work my farm and bring in money from there. Also, I really want to be, a goal for us is when I'm done fighting, we're debt free and we're working the farm, and the money we're bringing in is enough to pay the bills. And that we don't need any of the extra stuff. We don't need any fancy car, fancy clothes, nothing. We're just paying the bills and living our life and enjoying every second of it. And that's really the direction we're going, and I'm the direction I'm going. So, yeah, I mean, if the UFC wanted to part ways, I'd be bummed, especially if it wasn't on my timeline, how I wanted it. But I would be okay with it, and get this farm in extra gear and start making bringing in some cash or something.
Well, in time, man, in time, you're working
Absolutely.
on it and you're building it, and just like you built your UFC career, you built the farm, and it will have some success. You know what I mean? And who knows, man? It might turn into multiple farms. We don't know, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ultimately, honestly, we don't even want to get too big. Like, I'm not looking to build $1 million farm. I don't care if my farm ever makes $1 million or not. I'm not looking to do that. That's not what I want to do. I want to be as self-sustainable as possible, providing my family with quality food, meat, produce, fruit, vegetables. I mean, all of it, man. That's what I want to do. And whatever we have extra on the side, we're able to sell to other people so they can enjoy it as well. And with that little bit of money that we make, we're just able to pay our bills and get by. So, almost a paycheck to paycheck kind of thing, but it doesn't matter because we're living life. We're enjoying every second of it, and hopefully we have no other debts to pay when that time comes. So that's the real goal.
Of course, man. All the best in that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when you found out about this upcoming fight with RDA, it was on social media, and you didn't even have a contract signed.
Yeah, no, I didn't. So I'd given the matchmaker, Sean Shelby, a bunch of names of guys I'd like to fight, guys who bring it and excite me, hoping I can get one of them. I saw RDA went to welterweight. Go ahead and throw his name in there. He's a stud. He's good everywhere. So he's a beast. So yeah, I threw his name in there, and he was just like, okay, I'm going to work on this kind of thing. And then it was just like, I didn't hear back for a little bit. So I was like, well, I wonder what's going on. And then all of a sudden one day it was like, maybe there's a possibility I'm going to, reach out to some more coaches. I got nothing yet, but I'm still working on it and just hold up. And then all of a sudden it was like, I hadn't heard from him maybe a week. And then it was like, boom, on social media, it's everywhere. And I have, media guys texting me, asking me to confirm and all this. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What's going on? I checked my email, there's no contract. I'm like, okay. So I text Sean and was like, hey man, did something get finalized? Because I'm getting blown up right now saying that I'm fighting RDA December 3rd. I didn't hear back from him. I'm sure he's busy. So I didn't hear back from him then, but then the next day I got an email. It was like, to confirm like I wanted to fight RDA and, they can book it or whatever. So I was like, hell yeah. And then, I was still kind of waiting on a contract. So I was just like, I texted him. It was like, hey, me and RDA, man, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. And he sent me a thumbs up. And I was like, okay, it must be official. We're good to go. I guess we're good to go. Hell yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it was just kind of weird how it happened. But I guess I had heard that RDA had mentioned it in an interview. And then the guy who did the interview, like, an hour after the interview or something, like posted it everywhere, I guess. So I don't know. I'm sure he knew before, like would know before me, like he was really probably in his decision if he wanted to take it or not. So ultimately I'm thankful that he did. And, he said he was looking for, not really chasing title anymore, but looking for exciting fights. Well, I promise you damn sure got one.
Yeah, for sure, man. When they announced that they were going to go to South Korea in February, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, man, Bryan has a fight already in Orlando, and he walked out with the fight kit for South Korea, and I was like, it would have been cool to have him walk out in South Korea with the South Korean fight kit, man, cool. Along with your wife. That would have been like a cool moment, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a card in South Korea. What?
In February.
In February.
Yeah.
Is it late February?
Early February. Yeah, early February.
1 second. I lost lights. There we go.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, early February. Well, you never know, man. You never know. I mean, technically my fights aren't that, the kind of fights that you normally come out of unscathed. Yeah. But, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Your last fight was against Robbie Lawler. You got RDA now. Probably arguably your most high-profile opponent because he's a former lightweight champion. He fought for the interim welterweight title. Thoughts on his accolades and where he is in his career?
He's still up there, man. I mean, honestly, if he wanted to still, go for the belt, he's right there still. He's not far off. Couple wins at either weight class. Honestly, you look at everybody he's fought. Everybody's been at least top 10 in both weight classes. So he's fought the top of the division in both weight classes, and he's done great things. Former champ. Fought for the interim belt at 70. He's a legend. Hands down, he's a legend. And you know what? It's a fight that honestly I've wanted for a long time. And it kind of just got away from me. Like, maybe I lost my chance at that one. I wasn't fighting 55 anymore. He came up to 70, and I was like, oh, maybe there's a chance to still fight him. And then he went back down to 55, and so I was kind of like, he's probably gonna, before I can get him, before we can square off or whatever, it'd just be fun to fight him because. I didn't fight, but I walked out with Benson Henderson in his corner, worked his corner when Benson fought him. And, RDA had beat him that night. And so it's, I don't know, just not a grudge thing, but it was just one of those things like, man, I hope one day I get a turn at him, try to bring this one back home, kind of thing. So just one of those kind of like full circle moments. Like, man, now it's, I'm walking out against RDA again, but this time, I'm fighting him. So it's pretty awesome. And, I'm a fan of his. He's a stud, man. I mean, he's good everywhere. And, for anybody who says who would say that because of age or, whatever, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Doesn't make any sense. The dude is fighting the best in the world and is still at the top of his game. And, honestly, I just feel like maybe, he's just been doing that, going after the title so long, he knows that his chances of getting back to it are going to take longer and whatever. And maybe he doesn't have that left, but I know he's got fights left. And, so, and, I mean, he's well-rounded, man. He's good everywhere. I'm really excited about the fight. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, he's well-rounded. He's good everywhere, like you said. The one thing that I see in this fight is the size and strength factor. Do you feel like that will be playing a big role in this fight?
I mean, I'm going to try to wear on him, I'm going to do all I can to wear on him and put my weight on him, use my weight behind everything and really wear on him. But, I'm sure he's, like I said, he's a former champ. He's a well veteran, and I'm sure he's preparing, for an ultimate battle. I'm sure he's seen my fight, so he knows how I fight, and, he knows he's in for it. So, again, he's also fought at 70 before. So, he has fought against bigger guys and stuff. And, maybe he's had some issues in some areas, but, hasn't been majorly noticeable. But, you could definitely intend for me to try to wear on him.
And also the weight cuts, down to 155. 15 pounds is a huge difference. And it's not like it's easy for him. We've seen him struggle in the past. That could take a toll, right? That could be something that we have to look at.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, he's going to come out, he's going to be fresh, a lot fresher than he is when he cuts to 55. So I expect definitely a more hard nose, more feeling better, feeling good, more energy behind everything, more power behind everything, just because of that. Not having to cut that extra 15. He's going to be able to enjoy some extra food and stuff, and I'm doing the opposite. I'm back to where, he was, I'm cutting the weight. So I'm sure he's cutting some still. He's a stocky guy. So, but definitely nowhere near going to 55. So I think he'll definitely feel a lot more comfortable and, come out firing.
Is cutting weight easier now compared to, let's say, a few years back, or is it harder, or is your nutrition better compared to a few years back? What's the differences you see in yourself?
I definitely think my nutrition is a lot better. I don't know if it has to do with age, but I've noticed that weight cuts have gotten harder. Maybe that's because I used to go so hard after, fights or whatever. I would get so heavy and then, have to work all the way back down. When I did the 2 fights at 55, I mean, I had to let them know, for first one, I was staying ready the whole time and keeping my weight down. The second one, man, I had to let them know that I was ready to fight. Like, hey, I'm looking to fight like months in advance. Like, I needed to be, ready kind of thing to cut the weight. So definitely 70 is a lot better for me. Like it's still a cut, still a big cut for me. Like I cut a lot, so but definitely my nutrition's better. And there was a time when, through, after recovering from injuries and things like that, that I had surgeries or whatever, like it kind of altered my weight cuts a little bit. So, I had to change some things around and make some adjustments. But once doing so, things have gotten smoother.
Yeah, I figured that because I remember, you've had some serious injuries, man, I remember you ballooned up to like 220 or something, like 205.
240.
Yeah. So those days probably like you probably got some, PTSD from those days to where you're like, hey, I don't want to go through that shit anymore, man. I'm good with that, man.
Definitely on the injury side. Yeah, I don't want to go through any more of that.
Of course, man. Man, this fight, man, I feel like because it is 3 rounds, it's going to be high pace. It's going to be wild. What type of performance are you expecting out of yourself in this fight against RDA?
Yeah, that's something I didn't even touch on was this, he's been fighting 5 rounds for, gosh, a while. Like, he hasn't been in a 3-round fight for quite some time. So, he's already got a high pace on him. He already puts a pace and is, nonstop. So, bringing down the rounds of 3 for him, I definitely expect him to come out, even more gunning for me and trying to break me and put a pace on me. So, but I'm pretty good at a pace. I put a pace on people myself. So, hopefully he's ready to take it. I'm going to dish it right back. So hopefully he's able to take it. And, we're able to put on a show for the fans. I'm ready for whatever, man. I know he's not going to come out and just strike with me. And it's not going to just be a striking match. He's very well-rounded and he mixes it up everywhere. Very good. So I expect him to come and mix in takedowns. I expect him to try to work his jiu-jitsu if it goes to the ground, but I do expect him to throw as well. So I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna mix it up on him, and wherever it goes, I'm ready, and I'm ready to cause a lot of damage, and have a fun time with him.
Yeah, man, that's what the fans are expecting. The UFC, man, they recently banned gambling for fighters and coaches, right? Do you ever look at the odds for your fights?
I don't. Apparently, sometimes they do come up, and I cross them, or they cross my eye or whatever. But I don't ever pay attention to those. Mm-hmm. I'm not a betting guy myself, so I don't bet or anything. Like I'll pick. People will ask me who I pick or whatever. I'll do picks occasionally and stuff like that. But it's never. Don't like go off my thing. You're not gonna probably win any money, but but I'm not a betting guy, so I mean I don't look at odds or whatever. I've had the odds stacked against me many times and was able to prevail. So and I've had the odds on my side and it come up short. So it goes the other way. It just depends. All I got to worry about is showing up that night and giving my best performance and putting my best ability forward. And that's all I can worry about. All I can think about. So, that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah. Another fighter told me that fighters are the worst people to ask about fights because they're just going to pick the guys that they know or they've trained with. They don't care about the matchup.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We tend to pick like people we know, and obviously like they're friends, man. Yeah. We're always rooting for them. Exactly. Even though they got tough fights or whatever, they're gonna pull it out. Mm-hmm. They're gonna pull it out.
December 3rd, UFC Orlando. Bryan, you're back in front of a crowd again. You're gonna put on a show with RDA. Hey. It's great to speak with you, man, before every fight. Thank you so much. Everybody, if you want to know more about Bryan or the event, go download the AllStar app in the descriptions. Thank you so much, man. All the best in the fight.
Hey, thank you so much, dude. It's always a pleasure talking with you. Always a good time. And you always make time for me too, man. I appreciate you.